The interior chambers of a bullworm are highly sensitive and are easily upset by parasites and spicy food. They quite like toast, though.
That's a fine prop, SpongeBob. You done good.
Okay, thanks, old man Jenkins. Can we leave now and get out of this place? Huh?
Sorry, SpongeBob, it ain't that simple. Something's got this here worm belly all fired up. That's why these gut juice levels are so high. That happens to me when I eat sea cucumbers. If someone was to find out why and sort it out... Oh, hello!
Oh, me!
Oh, excuse me, I was just busy being invisible there.
To the rescue! Which way was it to the rescue again?
Towards, how should I put this delicately? The rear.
In the ass! I want a whole bag of jelly beans up my ass. Alright, so yeah, this is the last section of the Alaskan Bull Worm bullshit. I always go up that little ramp thing thinking there's gonna be something there. You'd think that I know there isn't after playing this game so many times, but apparently not. So yeah, we gotta go over to the worm's booty hole because something is blocking it. Which, when you see the escape from the Alaskan Bull Worm in this video later on, if you're like me, you'll be kind of confused about, like, why you had to do this in order to get out. Like, why you had to remove the blockage from the worm's asshole. I mean, I guess... maybe he said that, like, the gas levels are too big, but, like, they fly out of his mouth. Like, I don't know what the big deal is. Like, I don't know what's prohibiting them from leaving. But, I mean, I guess, you know, you want to save the rest of the villagers, you know, you don't want to just leave them for dead for some reason, I suppose. But yeah, this is, I think my favorite, of the, Alaskan Bull Worm sections, just because, there's the least amount of, like, over-explaining in this one, and most of the sections, most of the rooms of this part of this level, they just kind of let you go with it for the most part, and I wish the whole game felt like this, where it was just, like, pretty straightforward, but interesting worlds where you hop around, you do your cranking, you do your jumping, you do your attacking, collect some guys. This music is the theme music for the game, and so it's neat. I like this song, and here's me being an absolute dumbass, not knowing that the button that you that I just made appear is what makes that chest open. Also, if you can't tell, this is in post-commentary, and the reason for that is because I felt like it. I don't really have any good reason to be doing it. Just seemed easier, and also the next section of this game involves, like, reaction time and, you know, like, moving quickly. And I just didn't want to have to think of fucking commentary while playing that. And these things, well, they knock you off like that, which is horseshit, but these things, turning things that you can hop on top of, they, like, fuck up your momentum. Like, they completely get rid of all of your momentum. And you don't, like, your momentum doesn't shift to the direction that they're going. It's a little hard to explain, but it's just something you feel when you're playing it. And there are things like that in other SpongeBob games and other platforming games. Like, some of my qualms with how the gameplay works in this game. I think I've been comparing it a lot to Battle for Bikini Bottom in the movie game, as far as like the mechanics and just how it feels to play the game. But really, I could just extend it to like almost every like 3D platformer of this kind that I've played. There are just certain like ways that you expect certain moves and movements to work, and they just don't always in this game, and it's just lame because it usually just fucks you over. But it's nothing too bad. And that was just complete dipshittery on my part, honestly. And I keep thinking that I'm getting text messages from people, but it's just the fucking Bernie campaign, which like is nice, but yeah, it's a lot. So I was looking at my my list on my phone just now of commentary thing. That was strange. Just landed on nothing there. And accidentally slap the save thing when I'm trying to press the button to grab the winch. Or winch, not wench. I'm not grabbing a wench. Fucking wench. You think that I created a whole fake website with YouTube videos and late show appearances just so I could get into the embassy suites, you wench you? That's a Hannibal Buress bit. Which, Hannibal is still funny, but he is much more bad now that I know that he's a landlord and a yang ganger. I mean, I guess there's nothing wrong with supporting, and no, yeah, there is. You shouldn't do it, honestly. I mean, I'm not gonna get into it here, but it just his whole thing. He specifically is like, I don't like Bernie Sanders because he wants national rent control, and I'm a landlord, and it's like, oh, so you're a parasite. That's nice to know. Which I really think, and this goes for me as well, but for everybody, I think people who, you know, would generally agree with, like, my way of looking at things, I think we need to stop being surprised when fucking rich celebrities turn out to have shit politics that are disjointed from reality. I mean, that should be completely expected. And yeah, this was unsatisfying. I really wanted to zip forward, but this game had plans of its own. But yeah, like, this is all pretty, like, none of this is amazing gameplay or whatever. I was about to say groundbreaking, but I say that all the time. Like, no game is groundbreaking. But, you know, it's just good, simple fun in this level, and again, the music really heightens it. I have been a fan of the music in this game. The music in the SpongeBob games in general is pretty catchy and good, and a lot of variety. And it's good because it reflects one of the best elements of the show, which is that the music in the show is also really good. Just making sure I didn't miss anything. And it's an excellent camera angle. But yeah, like, all the background music in SpongeBob is awesome. It makes for great background music in videos and stuff, so. But yeah, I was looking at my note in my phone for commentary, and yeah, you don't need these anchors at all. You can just make these jumps normally. And one of the things that I was thinking about when I was playing this, when I was recording the gameplay that you see here, was the role that, like, gross humor plays in SpongeBob and how that has changed over the years. And now, obviously, as we've established, I can't speak for the newest episodes, like post-season 7, so maybe it has changed, but I think one of the major elements that changed between the pre- and post-movie seasons of the show was an increase in the reliance on gross humor. But I don't know, because I think back to a lot of older episodes of SpongeBob, and if I were to describe some of the things that happen, then it would seem like just as gross. But I don't know what it is about the newer episodes that just, like, much more viscerally disgusting. I think it's just because of, like, the detail of the drawings they're much more graphic during the gross parts, and I don't know, they just seem more brutal and more gratuitous. I mean, to me, the fucking, House Fancy episode is probably, except for the Splinter episode, which is really just, like, both of those episodes, I guess House Fancy has a little bit more going on than the gross out humor. It's really unfortunate that that episode is one of my least favorite episodes, but it has one of my favorite jokes from any of the post-movie episodes, and that's the giant unibrow that Squilliam has that's made out of gilded doorknobs. That's a funny part. Although the name House Fancy, which the name of for both an episode of the show and for a name of a fake house show, is really fucking stupid, and I stand by my opinion on that. But yeah, the toenail bit in that, and the entirety of the Splinter episode, and some other ones like the episode Fungus Among Us, where SpongeBob, like, touches this weird fungus, he eats it, and then is just pulsating with it. And there's probably a bunch of other ones, but there's so many more episodes that just seem to rely entirely on just gross and disturbing shit. Whereas I feel like in the older episodes they were less gratuitous, less graphic and disgusting looking, and they were much fewer and farther between. Like, everyone points to the, one of the most well-known and best running gags of the show, which is the extreme close-ups, the painted close-ups where, does this look unsure to you? And then you have Squidward's wrinkly-ass face. One of the most disgusting ones, and I kind of go back and forth on whether or not I think it's funny, is in the Who Bob What Pants episode, where he goes to New Kelp City and he says, "Is something wrong with me?" and just utterly disgusting close-up of SpongeBob with just, like, grease and snot and pus coming out of him. That's one of those things where, like, I don't know, there's a way to do that kind of humor that I don't think is entirely terrible. Like, like, Ren and Stimpy has even some of the most gratuitous episodes of post-movie episodes SpongeBob beat in terms of grossness. But it works for some reason. Just because of the conceit of the show. I mean, that show is, I think, far more mean-spirited than SpongeBob. I'm gonna let this cutscene go before I keep going.
Correct. A bit of worm.
I feel like that joke would have been funnier if he didn't correct himself. Just say up, up, and a worm.
We're gonna make it! We're gonna make it!
So yeah, I don't know why we did all that dog shit over in the worm's butthole when we were just gonna fly out of his mouth anyway, but... Muzza fuzza blah.
Nothing bad is happening. No worms, no patties. No, being strapped to a dumb space rocket traveling faster than the speed of thought.
So yeah, now we're doing this. We're back with Starfishman, and this is a relatively short section of the game, called Rocket Rodeo, and I don't really think I need to explain this much. You're on a rocket, you collect the fuel so you don't run out, and you avoid the thingies, except these arrows that tell you where to go are a little bit confusing sometimes, because it's not always incredibly clear where exactly you're supposed to be, like when you're supposed to do that, and also there's times where there's shit that you need that is directly, like, in the line of what you're trying to avoid, both, like, Z's and Sleepy Seeds and fuel tanks. And yeah, like, I went right there and I ran into the fucking wall. Like, what did you want me to do? I don't know. I don't always understand what this game wants me to do in this portion of it. I never was a gigantic fan of this part.
Probably stop talking now.
And yeah. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what exactly is
I wonder what it could be.
fucking, I don't know what I'm saying, never mind. Oh yeah, I don't know what exactly it is about these, about the newer episodes that makes them so much more viscerally off-putting. I was saying that I think that Ren and Stimpy is a much more mean-spirited show than SpongeBob, with the caveat that I think that one of the reasons I dislike the post-movie seasons is I think they also got more mean-spirited as the show went on. And, you know, I do want to rewatch all of them. I've talked about it earlier in this LP, about wanting to actually go back and watch all of them. It's kind of hard to make myself do it, because it's not even because I just hate them so much. They're just really, like, just not even very interesting stories. I don't think they have... The frequency of like, good jokes is so few. Like, maybe I'll get one, like, actually I am laughing hard joke, like, maybe one or two in an episode in seasons 4 through 7. Whereas even some of the more, like, ho-hum, less interesting and less funny season 1 through 3 episodes, they still have a lot of, like, very decent jokes and even parts that would, you know, make me laugh a lot. So I don't know. And it really, I want to emphasize that it's really not as simple as just, well, they got new writers and the writers don't know how to write good. Because it's true, there is a new team of writers and people on the show. I mean, it's been around for a fucking long-ass time, so... But, that's actually really not the culprit in a lot of specific cases. Like, some of the episodes, the post-movie episodes that are the target of the most criticism are written by people who wrote some of the best, like, season 1 through 3 episodes. Like, I'm pretty sure Aaron Springer is a co-writer of the House Fancy episode, and he wrote a bunch of amazing classic SpongeBob episodes. In fact, I'm going to look it up right now. I don't have very much longer in the video, but I'm going to look up what his writing credits are. List of episode credits, here we go. Yeah, in season 1, he wrote Muscle Bob Buff Pants. Yeah, bunch of season 2 and 1 ones. And am I correct that he did House Fancy? Yeah, he wrote House Fancy. So, yeah, it's not as simple as the writers. It is a difference in show running, and I think a difference in aesthetic. I think the aesthetic change between season 3 and 4 is significant, but I need to do a deep dive and really think about it, because I want to be able to cogently talk about what the difference is and maybe make like a video essay about it, but that's for another time. Anyway, see you guys next week for more rocket stuff.